Hello, so I'm here to share two really cool things, the first of which is time sensitive. So if you haven't checked it out already, Claude Code right now, there is a research preview that's going on, and there's $1,000 in free usage credits for Claude Code on the web specifically, so you have to use it on the web within this UI that you see here. So that's running until the 23rd. You have 3 days to use $1,000 of credits if you're a Max user. So if you're sitting there right now wondering, how the hell am I going to use $1,000 worth of credits, especially if you're working on something that's production grade and you need to verify and make sure that the code is good quality, and Claude Code requires a lot of back and forth and figuring things out, right? So actually to use all those credits is a big task, but you want to make the most of it, right? I was in the same situation a couple days ago because this was initially supposed to end on the 18th, and that leads me to cool thing number 2, which is auto mode. So auto mode is something that I created. It's a orchestration agent built on top of the BMAD method that attempts to solve that. It's about 80% there, I will say, but it's pretty cool and it probably works for most cases. So I want to share it with you in case it's helpful. So what this is, if you don't know about the BMAD method, there's a link below and you can check it out. It's a really cool agentic framework that kind of mirrors the software development lifecycle. So there's agents, there's scrum masters, there's developers, there's product owners, there's the architect. So there's all these different perspectives that kind of come together that mirrors the typical epic story code review kind of life cycle. What this means is that it actually leads you through a kind of a rigorous process to ensure that the AI doesn't hallucinate, doesn't miss context that's important for working within your specific code base. So again, really helpful if you're trying to build something into production, which I'm trying to do. So BMAD kind of takes care of the first part of the problem, right? Which is actually being able to go through a process that is robust and will result in good quality code. So I was okay, so that seems good, so I should use the BMAD process. But the second thing, which is I don't have enough hours to actually prompt through the BMAD process, because BMAD is also a co-creative process, which I actually love usually because it makes sure that, again, that the code is aligned with the standards and all this stuff, and you can test things and all of that, which is great. But it's actually a pretty robust framework, and if it just follows the BMAD process and passes it off sequentially between these agents, I think it could do a pretty good job, but that doesn't exist. But BMAD has the functionality to create custom workflows. So what I did was create auto mode. So auto mode, what it does is it calls sequentially a lot of these sub workflows that are built in BMAD, and you can see it here. So it's a fully autonomous, rigorous validation bot, and it's instructed to never ask the user for anything, but be super robust, and it has an escalation pathway, so if it gets blocked, it just passes it to a different BMAD agent. And you can see it running here, so it actually ran for pretty much the full Epic 2. It starts out looking where it's at, it knows the context, looks at the stories it needs to process, goes through the architecture documents, the PRD, checks all of that stuff that it needs to look at, and then it starts the epic. So it does a tech spec for the epic, test design for the epic. So these are all built into the BMAD process already. And it just reminds itself, so the auto mode bot reminds itself of who it is, and it goes through the process. It sees where it is, creates the test design, now it creates the story context. Then I made some updates, so I asked it to pull, and then it just keeps going, right? So it will stop every once in a while. So you can see here, when there's unpushed commit hooks, it will stop, have to ask it to start again, but it goes through, so now it creates a story context. If the context is good, it invokes the dev story workflow, right? So it pulls up the dev story, which is a pre-built thing in BMAD, starts to run that, executes that. Then it goes through, does the brownfield analysis, make sure that it knows everything that it needs to know, goes through and runs the migrations. So it goes through the story task by task, make sure that every AC is complete, and then when it's complete, so task 4 and 5, task 6, so let's keep scrolling. Okay, then it does some testing, so 26 out of the 27 tests have passed. So it checks again, one's failed, figures out what's going on, runs it again, 27 tests are now passing. So it says, okay, this is good, it completes all the tasks, it marks everything as done in here, checks off all the tasks, and it updates and adds its findings. So what did it do? What did it figure out? And then it marks the story as complete, and then it moves on to the next thing. So this is all just actually really amazing logic that has been built into the BMAD method. Pretty much what auto mode does is it just calls each BMAD process again and again. So it finished story 1, and then now it's moving to 2. So it checks again, so this is part of the auto mode, so it will see where it's at. Okay, now it has this next story, so it knows the things that it has to do. So verify the story exists, load the story context, invoke the dev story, validate the test, validate the acceptance criteria, commit and push the changes. use. That's kind of it. So that's the BMAD process. Like I said, it's 80%. There are definitely some hiccups running in Claude Code and the web. And be warned before you start Claude Code on the web, there's a reason that it's in research preview and there's a reason they're giving us these credits. So the user experience definitely has some glitches that are still being worked out. I definitely face some frustrations going through this process, but $1,000 of credits is actually worth going through that in my opinion. So that's why I built this, to mitigate some of those issues. And there's still some issues in here. So the BMAD / command can't actually be called in the Claude Code environment, but the workaround is actually just to get the bot to read fully the actual execution steps and then execute on its own. But it can lead to some glitches. So sometimes I've seen it when I'm running it not actually do the full thing that it's supposed to, so still keep an eye on it. But if you're looking for a way to use your credits before they expire in 3 days, I hope that this inspires you and helps you. If you're interested in trying out auto mode, it's gone through a couple iterations and I'm still testing and seeing which version works best. Just leave a comment auto mode and I'll send it to you. And I'm also super curious to see how it works for you and if you find any improvements that you'd like to share. And if you want more content like this about AI automation strategies, depending on where this is posted, please like or please follow so I know that this is something that's interesting for people. And I'm happy to create content. So I'm in the process of actually building an app for spiritual teachers and conscious creators using a lot of AI. So I'm playing around with a lot of different things like image models, vision models, video creation, text creation, on-brand text creation, on-brand asset creation, RAG, like vector databases, all kinds of things. So if you're interested in the stuff, then yeah, please do like and follow so that I can document more of my journey as I'm creating this product. Yeah, so that's kind of it. So there's an auto mode. It's okay. Like I said, it's 80%. There's some limitations with Claude Code and especially Claude Code on the web that prevents some of the functionality and sometimes it'll stall out. Every once in a while it will hallucinate and lie, which AI does. So you still have to keep an eye on it and make sure it's doing the right thing. But overall, it's pretty good. And without it, I wouldn't have been able to actually use these credits. And more than that, it's actually building usable code that is runnable and I'm able to test it. Now I'm 50% through the build for my app, so I'm super excited. And yeah, if you like this kind of content, please like, please comment so that I know. And I'm in the process of building this app that's designed for spiritual teachers and conscious creators that helps them get their message out into the world. It's a social media campaign automation tool, content creation tool. So if you're curious about this, yeah, follow so that I know to create more content like this and share more of my journey as I'm building this. Or if you're a spiritual teacher or a conscious creator who wants to use this product, also please follow because I will share as the app gets launched. So thank you for tuning in. I hope this video was helpful and see you next time.